My history involves history of art and the history of philosophy. And anything else I plug into what I remembered of that, but I didn't read much of
Right.
political or war stuff.
Right, but Edinger's point is that we're used to thinking in terms of concepts, and Jung isn't talking about concepts. Jung is talking about psychic facts. So in Aeon, each of his chapters is about a psychic fact, and he's talking about it from different positions, and it's like, I don't know, it's like...
See, that suits me. That's the way I think.
Right.
I don't think, that's why I always had trouble in philosophy classes, because I had all these these thinking people, and
Yeah.
I come in with clusters of stuff and throw them out there for you to kind of experience and feel around in.
Right,
It's just like, go away, guy.
which is a way of thinking that never occurred to me,
Yeah.
really. I mean, I'm only now sort of getting it as I'm reading Edinger, not from reading Jung, because, you know, I've struggled through Jung for 30 years, and okay, I know a lot about Jung, but I never really grokked it until I started to read Edinger, and then it started to come together for me. And Jung knew that. I mean, Jung, where was it? He wrote about this in the foreword to Psychic Energy, and he wrote about it in the foreword to Erich Neumann's book, the History and Origins of Consciousness, right? And he wrote about it in one or two other places that I've read. And basically what he's saying is that I know I'm not writing for the average person, and it's actually going to take two generations, a generation of analysts who bring what I say down to the level that an average person might be able to understand it, which is what Edinger has done for me. Okay, so now I can read Edinger and say, oh, that's what Jung was driving at.
I don't think you can bring it down to ordinary.
Well, and then that's my role. Okay, that's what I'm doing here, is I'm bringing it down yet another level, the third generation level.
But again, it's sort of like bringing down the tablets from the mountains. You know, you're bringing down the laws, but
right.
The Gnostic is going to say, you know,
you have to have the experience,
yeah.
Right? And so that's what I'm saying. You have to have the experience. You have to have the experience, and so in order to get into the experience, you might have to have these videos first, and then maybe you'll start to read a little Jung out of curiosity, and then you might start reading a little Edinger side by side with Jung.
If that's what you need, right?
I
or
mean,
you might just be looking at a Jackson Pollock, and suddenly,
yeah, and suddenly it just, you have that experience, exactly. And, you know, I never really understood art, Bill, very honestly. I never really understood art. I mean, okay, these are nice pictures, and as I look around, there are nice pictures in this place, pictures of Marilyn Monroe and the Leaning Tower of Pisa and so on. But they never truly moved me as an NT. They never really moved me until I hit the Pollock, and until you helped me with that experience. Okay, somehow you helped me transcend into what it's all about, right? And you're helping me understand better what art means and why it's necessary in order to have a spiritual experience, right? Because, well, basically my simple answer to it today is logic can build a cathedral, but it can't fill it with people. You know, to fill it with people, you have to have the spiritual side, the experiential side, emotion. That you have to be reached.
Well,
you know, there are all these people. Okay, there's all these people out there in fundamentalist religion, and they say, "Oh my God, you know, Christ really saved me. I'm saved." I don't. Do they know what they're saved from? Okay, what?
Yes, they do.
What do they think?
Their past lives.
Pardon?
In many cases, their past lives. They would have died, or they would have self-destructed. And addictions and violence.
Oh,
and whatever.
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, they know what they were saved from, but it's a formulaic. It's not necessarily an emotional. It's not necessarily a spiritual. I see it as a kind of a dry logic kind of thing. But I could be wrong.
well, I think in those cases they're used to what you're calling logic, and if they can make the logic work, then they can believe they've accomplished it. But my way of looking at religion and even art and everything else is you've got to reach that apperceptive, intuitive apperception.
Apperception, yeah.
The intuitive, where you have a grasp of something before you feel it or before you think it. It's just there's something. It's like there's something that's organized at the archetypal level that resonates with something you see there or you experience, and when that happens, then you can start filtering it through thinking and feeling. But that's the afterglow.
You're talking about connection with the unconscious, though. These people
but
aren't necessarily connecting.
You're not a connection with, but a connection through.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, that's the issue,
Yes.
John, which I think what Bill's driving at is the encounter with the greater personality, that lecture from Edinger, okay, where he's talking about, oh, I get it now, I don't need anything anymore, I know. I don't need to believe, I know because I've had an experience. Now, what you're talking about is the perhaps ersatz thing that comes up in fundamentalist religion, where they say, "Oh my God, I'm born again," and
It's a patch.
it's a kind of patch. It's not an actual experience. Or
they've heard that that's the answer, and they found it, and that's good. They're satisfied. Like you said, it's formulaic.
well, yeah, I know. I mean, I've been to a couple of fundamentalist events. One in Japan when I was 17, and one in Singapore about, I guess, 15 years ago. And the one in Japan was definitely a fundamentalist Christian thingy, and it was just like what's his name, Billy
Graham.
Yeah, Billy Graham. Okay, it's just like Billy Graham did, where he'd be giving a very dramatic sermon, right? And then he'd say, "Oh, if you feel it in your body, come up and, declare Christ," type thing. And, that night I remember almost getting up. I mean, my girlfriend at the time, I didn't realize it, but my girlfriend at the time was a fundamentalist Christian. And her father, who was a senior Navy chief, took me to this event, and I was there with her father and her mother, and they were holy rollers.
And you were getting the litmus test.
Right. And, and they were really into it, right? And so, I started to feel it that night that, yeah, okay, I want to get up and declare my, but I wasn't having an experience. I wasn't having the Gnostic
Correct.
experience.
Because what this does is it produces ultimately a lot of Jehovah's, whereas the other, the religious attitude produces a Job, I think.
You mean a Jehovah's Witnesses?
A Job. No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about psychologically.
The difference
The
between it.
fundamentalist path produces a Jehovah because they buy into all these rigid rules with no forgiveness. I mean, it's just because if they go back to their past, they feel that they're doomed. So
Right.
So there's a
they
certain
become the Jehovah.
security in that rigidity.
That's why, as a mass, that's kind of dangerous.
Kind of, yeah.
But
Yeah.
But the other, this is a Job, a person who's connected with their self.
Through,
Actual experience, right?
through their interior life instead
Right.
of through the exterior demonstration.
That's interesting.